So today for my presentation, I was assigned to talk about the Battle of Actium, which is one of the battles and things that is talked about in Virgil's Aeneid. And to start out, the Battle of Actium is essentially comes down to like the climax of rivalry between Octavian and Mark Antony, who are both very big, both military and political figures in the Roman Republic around the time of I'd say 40 to 30 BC. The battle itself happened on September 2nd in the year 31 BC in the Ionian Sea, and this battle is also known as the last war of the Roman Republic, as the Republic slowly transitioned into the Roman Empire, which is something we'll talk about a little more. To kind of go over some of the main characters of this battle, Octavian he's also known as, he goes by Caesar Augustus. He was born in September of the year 63 BC and died in August in the year 14 AD. He is known as the first Roman emperor of the Roman Empire, as noted. He was the first one to take rule after the switch from the Republic to the Empire. He is officially, and this will be important later in the slide, officially the adopted son of Julius Caesar, who was the former and the last ruler of the Roman Republic. And he is the one who initiated Pax Romana, which is known as, it's about 200 or so years, a period of peace in the Roman Empire. There's obviously, small conflicts and, battles that went on as they slowly tried to expand the empire. But mainly, there were no, major conflicts or battles between, warring kind of major world powers at the time. Mark Antony, he was born in January of the year 83 BC and died in August of the year 30 BC. During the rule of Julius Caesar, he was one of the Roman generals in the army and also named one of the administrators of Italy under the rule of Julius Caesar. After the murder and assassination of Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, along with Octavian and Marcus Lepidus, formed the Second Triumvirate, which was essentially a three-man dictatorship that ruled and kind of controlled the Roman Republic while they were still trying to recover from the assassination of Julius Caesar. Mark Antony at the time, before the things and everything that went down with the Battle of Actium happened, he was the husband of Octavia, who was the sister of Octavian. But as things go on, he ends up being the lover of Cleopatra VII, who was the ruler of Egypt at the time. A little background before the battle, that kind of leads up to everything. The Second Triumvirate ends up breaking up when Antony, as stated, leaves Octavia to go be with Cleopatra. He heads down to Egypt, ends up becoming the so-called stepfather of Caesarion, who at the time was the supposed heir to the throne behind Julius Caesar. This was never really proven, and there was some controversy between who was going to be the heir, obviously between Caesarion and Octavian, who was, officially the adopted son of Julius Caesar, and he was also, distantly related to Julius Caesar as well. So when Antony left and went down to Egypt, this definitely caused some contention between Antony and Octavian, in seeing that Octavian is now supporting Caesarion, who's supposedly Octavian's kind of rival to the heir of Rome. The Roman Senate also saw this as a bad thing, kind of as a separatist movement, as Antony was, leaving Rome, heading down to Egypt, trying to, they saw it as him trying to take over more control and be more individualized and kind of taking power over Egypt. They didn't like that. There was eventually a split in the Senate between support of Octavian and Antony. A bunch of propaganda and lies were being thrown between the two, which eventually, built up and up until eventually Octavian declared war on Cleopatra in Egypt, and Cleopatra in Egypt in turn declared war on Rome. This all happened, as you can see, on the western side of Greece, near the town of Actium. At the time, Octavian and his troops came down from the north. They camped up here with their ground troops, and then Octavian, along with the help of his son Marcus Agrippa and a couple of the Roman generals brought their fleets to the outside, and then Mark Antony came down from the south here, from Egypt, with Cleopatra's fleet and some of his friends' fleets, and then camped out here on the south side of this peninsula. The outcome of the battle ended up with Octavian defeating Antony by destroying his fleet and surrounding his camp. Antony was forced to surrender. It started out, Octavian had a fleet of around 260 ships, and Antony had a fleet of 230. Octavian had ground troops, 80,000 infantry and 12,000 cavalry, and Antony ended up having a little more support with 100,000 infantry and 12,000 cavalry. But in the end, Antony lost an estimated 140 ships, 80 of those by ramming and 60 by fire. And a lot of this was caused because Octavian's ships were a lot smaller in size compared to Antony's, so they were able to maneuver around the water and cause a lot more damage to Antony's ships than they could cause to Octavian's ships. After Antony lost such a big proportion of his fleet, a big chunk of his cavalry actually ended up fleeing, which brought Antony's numbers of his army down. He was very weakened at that point, and led to him being surrounded, and he had to surrender. After the battle, Antony was kind of considered like a, I guess a war criminal. People were on the hunt for him after the battle. He ended up killing himself and died in the arms of Cleopatra, then Cleopatra in turn ended up taking her own life as well. The outcome to all of this, after the battle, Octavian was officially named Augustus Caesar, and this marked the transition, like I said earlier, of the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire. They gained control over all of the Mare Nostrum, which is the term they used to refer to all of the Mediterranean Sea. Egypt surrendered to Rome, which caused the end of the Ptolemaic kingdom, which is, Egypt is right here. And this whole kingdom was what was being ruled and kind of initiated by Ptolemy in the time of Alexander the Great. So that kingdom officially came to an end after so many hundred years, and it marked the end of the Hellenistic period, which was the period that started from the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC up to 31 BC, which was the day of the Battle of Actium. Thanks. Oh, also, these are my sources here. I forgot to mention that.